Malawi Fireside Chat, hosted by Hesed World. My name is Kiki Rebecca Lowell, and I'm truly honored to welcome you to this important gathering. Today's conversation, Mindset Change, the key to youth empowerment, peace, and sustainable development in Malawi, could not be more timely or more vital. This fireside chat marks an important milestone in our journey. Malawi is the third and final country in our pilot series, following powerful sessions in Nigeria and Kenya, before we take the conversation to the global stage in Geneva later this year. For those of you meeting us for the first time, Hesed World is a growing global ecosystem committed to reimagining how we live, lead, and build together. We believe in the power of intergenerational collaboration, cross-sector partnerships, and most importantly, a shift in mindset, because transformation begins within. Mindset change isn't just a slogan, it is a call to action. It is about choosing integrity in the face of compromise, courage in the face of fear, and hope in the face of systems that sometimes seem slow to change. And the very fact that we have so many young people present today shows a willingness to take the first step. We have heard your questions. How can youth influence policy and governance? How can the youth be empowered without being used? How do you build businesses and contribute to peace and growing personal and professionally in a fast-changing world? These are bold, thoughtful questions, and they are not just reflections. They are a starting point for collective action. But none of this happens in isolation. That is why we brought together a diverse mix of speakers from government, international bodies, business, and civil society. Because real change demands shared responsibility. I would especially like to thank and acknowledge the government of Malawi, represented here by the Ministry of Youth and Sports, for being part of this conversation, as well as other important people in the Malawian entourage, and for sharing the national strategies and plan for the youth development. Your presence signals commitment, and we are truly grateful. And I am personally delighted to welcome someone very special to me, my mentor, Margareta Wonstrom, who will be joining us on today's panel. Mentorship is one of the most powerful tools we have, especially in bridging gaps between generations, between urban and rural, between what we dream and what we actually build. So thank you all for being here. Let this be a space of courage, honesty, and connection. Let's think deeply, speak boldly, and work collaboratively, starting now. And with that said, it is my pleasure to hand the floor to our moderator for the day, Fratella Patrick Tembo. He's the Superintendent Desk Officer Training Department of Malawian Police Service. Let's begin. Over to you.
Kiki, thank you so much for the warm, welcoming remarks. And also thank you for ably introducing Hesed World and what we're trying to do in Malawi. Today, I should confess, I woke up very early. I woke up around 3 a.m. I couldn't sleep just because the day had arrived. I knew we were going to have this conversation and I was excited about it. The idea of a fireside chat is not new in Malawi. Many those that are joining us from Malawi agree that we've had a lot of stories told, folklore told around the fireplace. So this fireside chat on mindset change, the key to youth empowerment, peace, and sustainable development. Like you have said, it comes at the right time. Allow me to go through the agenda for today. What we're going to do is we are going to have a key note address by Mrs. Chikondi Chasukwa, who is the Principal Youth Officer in the Ministry of Youth and Sports. And after that, we are going to have a question and answer session, after which we are going to have a panel discussion. Allow me to mention the panelists that we have. You have rightly put her as your mentor, Margareta Wallstrom, who is the former special representative of the UN Secretary General for Disaster Risk Reduction, also former President Swedish Red Cross, as well as President Swedish Committee for Afghanistan. We also have for the panel discussion, we have Dr. Flata Lusungu Moyo, who is the founder, Team Lela Stream, and she's a specialist in gender and ethics. We have Mr. Taweni Kalua, who is the Peace and Development Officer, UN Malawi. We also have our panelist, Ms. Wangiwe Joanna Kambuzi. She is the Managing Director of Image Livelihoods. And lastly, we have Amon Winfred Nyilenda. And with that, afterwards, we're also going to have a question and answer session after the panel discussion, so that we open it up for all of us that have gathered for this important conversation to make our contributions. I said earlier that a fireside chat is not a new thing. Anzanga from Malawi, all those that know Chichewa, Padango Kala. Tilitonse, we are supposed to respond to Tilitonse. Padango Kala. Thank you so much. We are together, so let's be together in this. And before I invite the keynote speaker, Mrs. Chikondi Chasukwa, allow me to welcome all of you, and we want your insights, we want your experiences shared, so that at the end of the day, we make progress on mindset change. Now, allow me to invite Mrs. Chikondi Chasukwa. Thank you. Mrs. Chikondi Chasukwa? Are you there?
Hebon, can you please unmute, please?
Thank you. I was muted by the host. Thank you. Now I think I can unmute. He was telling me I can't. I couldn't unmute because the host had the right. But thank you. I was here the whole time. Thank you, our moderator, distinguished guests.
Chikondi, are you?
Our young people. Good afternoon.
There, now we can see you. Please continue.
Thank you, our moderator, our distinguished guests, esteemed colleagues, and our young people. Good afternoon. It is an honor.
Afternoon.
It is an honor for me to address you this afternoon on this fireside chat, on this theme, from policy to action, the role of the youth in advancing peace, gender equity, and sustainable development in Malawi. Today, as we gather, We are not here just to discuss the policy, but to ignite a spark in each one of us to take an action. What we are trying to do is to move from just policy to action. The action that will shape Malawi, not just today, but as we march towards Malawi 2063 and beyond, leaving no one behind. Malawi as a nation is stands at a crossroads. Malawi is known to be a youthful nation because the population, we have a population of approximately 21 million, of which 71% are individuals under the age of 35. Just to bring you into context, the Malawi National Youth Policy defines a young person as anybody between the ages of 10 to 35. So as of 2024, the demographics showed that Malawi has 21.5 million people, of which 70% are under the age of 30, making Malawi to be a youthful nation. So this demographic of 70% being the young people presents a tremendous opportunity as well as a profound responsibility. Young people are the engine of economic growth, innovation, and social transformation. Yet, they also face daunting challenges such as high unemployment, economic instability, gender disparities, vulnerability to disasters, limited participation in decision-making and other governance structures, especially as well as peace building. Most of our youth lack structured mentorship, access to funding, and platforms for meaningful engagement. These gaps not only stifle individual potential, but also hinder our collective progress towards peace, equity, and sustainable development. The adoption of the UNHCR 2250 in 2015 marked as a history to recognize the young people as critical agents in peace and security. Malawi as a nation, we domesticated the UNHCR 2250 in December 2024 by launching our National Action Plan, which was launched by our President, Dr. Lazarus Chakwera, in Nzuzu, Malawi. This is our roadmap for transitioning this global vision into reality and action. It is built on 4 pillars. There is in the UNHCR 2050, there are 5 pillars, but Malawi adopted 4 of them, which are participation, prevention, partnership, and protection. This National Action Plan recognizes that the youth are not just beneficiaries of the UNHCR 2250, but rather they are essential partners in conflict prevention, resolution, as well as peace building. And this plan aligns very well with our Malawi 2063, which underscores the importance of the young people being in the center of development, as well as our national youth policy, which also emphasizes the need to harness the potential of and the energy of young people as key stakeholders in our national development. Ladies and gentlemen, and our fellow young leaders, peace is not merely just the absence of war. We are lucky that in Malawi, we have not faced any armed conflicts, but then we cannot stand and say Malawi is a very peaceful country, because peace is not just defined as absence of war, but rather their security being present, development being seen, because peace is a prerequisite to sustainable development in each country, in each nation. So peace is a foundation upon which sustainable development is built. As the UN put it, there cannot be sustainable development without peace, and there cannot be peace without sustainable development. As peaceful societies foster stability, it attracts investments and enables long-term planning. the things that we need for our young people in Malawi to consider us, to be developed, to support them and make sure that they take part in peace building. We need this stability, we need to attract investment and enable long-term development, which will bring long-term and sustainable development. The youth of Malawi are already showing and demonstrating their capacity for leadership and innovation in many spheres, many spaces in the country. Across the country, we have young people who are contributing in community development, they are contributing in reproductive health, conflict prevention, and the UNSR with the 250 NAB and today's Fireside Chat are amplifying this to ensure that our young people are empowered as implementers of the UNSR 250 on youth, peace and security. And we must move beyond this rhetoric, this policy, these documentations, and move towards concrete action, which will require integrating the peace building and the UNSR 250 principles in our everyday programming, as well as providing financial and technical support to these young people, because when they are idle, that's when they are exploited, they are taken advantage of, that they now get involved in bringing unrest, in bringing conflict. But when we provide them with the financial support as well as the technical support, keeping them busy and letting them, empowering them economically, it will support our agenda of peace building. We also, as a ministry, we're also interested to make sure that young people meaningfully participate in the decision-making spaces. So this is done through community dialogues, which foster engagement and ownership, as well as leadership and entrepreneurship trainings that empower young people to be able to speak up, to take up positions, and to demand the services that they need. This all gives them the power to understand they are part of the decision-making, they are part of the development processes that are happening, without which the young people may be frustrated, and these are part of the triggers of unrest and in our country. So let us remember that peace and sustainable development are not abstract ideas. They are supposed to be lived realities that should be shaped by our daily actions and our collective will. So Malawi's youth are not the leaders of tomorrow. They are the leaders of today. With empowerment, proper mentorship, and guidance, they will make a difference and bring sustainable development in Malawi. As I said, without peace, there will not be sustainable development in the country. And if there is no peace, we cannot invite or attract investors, and there will not be jobs created to keep these young people busy and economically empower them to take up spaces, to stand up and support, as well as contribute in decision making, as well as being part of the governance structures. I urge our youth who are in here today to not just sit and wait for the government to support us, but us to use the available resources around us to look into what we can do with what we have, the potential that we have, the skills that we have to make a difference, because the whole is better than some of its parts. So we need to work together as a whole than to work individually to build the Malawi that we want by 2063. So together, let us turn policy into action. Let us build Malawi where peace, gender equity, and sustainable development are not just aspirations, but achievements realized by you as well and for the youth, so that the Malawi 2063 is not just a document. The MIP one is not just a document, but rather a reality that we live. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Chikondi Chasukwa, for that keynote address. If we clap hands, is it going to be okay? Hello?
We just lost Fratella. Okay. Have we just lost the
I'm
speaker?
back. I don't know. Something else must have. I was saying, thank you so much, Kondi Chasukwa, for that keynote address. And thank you for ably linking youth empowerment as well as peace and sustainable development. Kiki, allow me to say a few words in Chichewa.
Please go ahead.
Muzoyankhula zawo amene anali keynote speaker akambapo kunena kuti Malawi ili ndi ndondomeko zonena kuti achinyamata amene akunena kuti ndondomeko ikupanga consider achinyamata kukhala azaka 10 kufika 35 amenenso afotokoza kuti ali ochuluka kwambiri ku Malawi kumwa ngati 71% kunena kuti dziko la Malawi akuliyesa ngati dziko la a youthful country, a country which is made up of a lot of youth. And it's also interesting to note that we are not only looking at the local legislations, like local policies, but also incorporating international policies. Kuti achinyamata akhoza kutengapo mbali motani makamaka pa nkhani ya mtendere komanso chitukuko chokhazikika, sustainable development. Ndiyeno tazimvera tokha mmene zilili ku Malawi. This is how things are in Malawi. She's talked of challenges that are there. Now, allow me to invite reactions. Someone's speaker is on, someone's mic is on. Okay, thank you. Now allow me to invite reactions, contributions to on the keynote address. Tionge Nalikuli, do you have anyone to make contributions on what we have heard?
The floor is open. You can say whatever you have.
Rebecca Arawa raised her hand.
Madam
Rebecca, please speak. Rebecca Arawa, please speak. She's raised her hand.
Yes, Rebecca, I can see your raised hand. Can you start and then Tionge can come in? Rebecca Halawa.
All right, thank you so much for the good presentation that you have shared with us. It is really important, and I think as for me today, it is my first time to join this group. And basing on the presentations as well as the information that you have been sharing with us through the emails, as of now, I have addressed the 3 questions that I just want to get more information concerning that. On issue number 1, I just wanted to know actually what are the key factors that can influence the youth in the mindset, as well as how can we actually promote the growth based on the mindset change. Number two, I just wanted to know if in this forum or maybe these webinars when you're doing, do you involve persons with disabilities, especially those that are the youth that you get the ideas from them, and how do you assist these people with disabilities? And also the last question is, I wanted also to know that here in Malawi, we have in different districts, we have different offices concerning the youth and sports. So I just wanted maybe if you can come up clearly on what are the real duties as well as the responsibilities for these offices. I think remember the lady that was presenting was saying that it is the duty for us as the youth, we have to support ourselves, not for the youth offices that are in our district to support us, but we have to do it by ourselves. So I just wanted to know, actually, if you can explain more, what are the duties of these offices, because timadalira to say these offices are there to guide us, to support us as well, because maybe not all of us, we are eligible to find the support based on what we are looking for towards our health, towards our education, towards our employment. So those are the first three questions that I have came up with, and I'm looking for the answers on this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. You have 3 questions. Chikondi, can you come in and see how you're going to take these 3 questions, please?
Thank you. Was it Wonge for the questions? I will be able to respond to
Labeka
the
Halawa. Labeka
Yes,
Halawa.
I'll be able to respond to the 2 questions, the first and the last. The middle one, whether how we are engaging young persons with disability, I'll leave it to the host.
Thank you.
One. So the first one, you're talking about mindset change. Mindset change is a concept that we have adopted so far since the inception of the Malawi, the launch of the Malawi 2063, after noting that as a country, we need the mindset change for us to develop, because the mindset that we have right now is the one that we always wait to be given or to receive all the time, instead of us mostly, especially young people. I'm talking about the young people here. Instead of us going out there, reaching out and making sure that we are utilizing the resources that are around us for us to start something, to start moving, instead of us just being stagnant. So as a ministry, through the National Youth Service, we've started these trainings. We have actually what we call life coaching, like life coaching trainings, where we train young people to think outside the box. There was a discussion where we were looking at how many young people have we reached out with, for example, skills development in Malawi. When we look at the figures and we look at the young people who are actually practicing or doing what we trained them for, the number was just too little. And when we do a survey and ask why this is happening, most of them will say, oh, I was waiting for you to give me money to start the business. And these are the young people, you have trained them in bricklaying. They know how now to build a house. They know how to do this. They can even get a job. If they cannot start their own business, they can start by getting a job and then moving into thinking of building their own businesses, becoming their own bosses and creating jobs. But they don't actually do this. They sit down, or even when we give them startup tools, they will sell those startup tools and sit down and wait for the government to bring something else. So the mindset change actually is important for them to think, to know, for the young people to know that I don't have to wait for the government. I think this will also answer your question about whether you shouldn't rely on the youth officers. The youth officers are there to support you. But what I was saying is, the youth officer will bring you entrepreneurship training, will bring you leadership training, will link you to Tuveta, and you get the livelihood skills. And then at the end of the day, you even get, sometimes the youth even get startup tools. And then after that, they go sit down at home. They wait for the government to pay for a shop for them to start working. So we're saying, instead of you waiting for the grants by government to bring to you, why don't you start outside your house, on your veranda, pakonde pakwan, start tailoring. We've given you a sewing machine, we've given you the startup materials and everything else. But then the young people would not start the job, they will not start these skills, they will not start working. And their reason would be, I was still waiting for money to come in, but then there are always available resources in the community for them to use. Thank you.
Thank
So
you
when you
so much,
say,
Ipondo.
sorry,
I
when we
was about
say,
to-
don't wait for the government, we say, look around you and think of how I can help make a change in my community. We train young people to be carpenters. The bridge is washed away, a school roof is blown off. They'll do nothing. They'll still wait for the government to bring money and repair the roof when they are there and they are trained. So what we are trying to say is, we've given you the skills, we've given you this. Now go out there and make a difference. And use the youth office as a link. Thank you.
I think you have made your point. The issue here, as per your response, is that change must start in the mind. I can do this. The youth must believe in their own agency, which is enabled by the acquisition of skills, like you have said, through trainings. They acquire the skills, and sometimes they even get a starter pack, but then they have to go on and believe in themselves that I can do this. Apparently, even in the Bible, there's a story of the tyrants. Some two servants were given coins. One simply sat with their coin, another one went and did business with it. This is all about mindset change. I hope that one, Rebecca Halawa, I think that one is properly answered. Now, the second question she asked was
on disability.
No, the disability one, that one, she said she's going to leave it to the host. But the third question that she asked, Rebecca, can you come back on the third question? Rebecca, are you there?
Yes, yes.
On the third question, please.
I think Madam Jonge, she has responded to question number 3, but the first question she has not responded, and the second one. So the first questions, actually, I just wanted to ask, what are the key factors that can influence the youth? Can influence the young people.
Youth mindset change.
How can we use to promote the growth and the mindset of the youth? And the last question.
Allow me to point out, she mentioned trainings. I believe trainings would be suitable for, I mean, that one I think would address your question to say, for example, exposing them to trainings and sometimes even the startup pack that she mentioned. Wouldn't you say that one ably answers the factors that would influence youth mindset change?
Okay, let me just elaborate to say, we have a training manual, mindset change, specifically for the youth, in which there is citizenship, patriotism, giving back to the community. We believe that when the young people undergo this training, at the end of the program, at the end of the trainings, their mind starts to change, starts to shift towards a better thinking, towards a development-oriented mindset. Thank you. So if you want this mindset training manual, you can get it through the DYOs, the youth officers in the districts.
Rebecca, I think that one answers you, right?
Yes, yes.
Thank you. On question number 2, this is our first fireside chat, and I don't know, Kiki, I don't think we made any arrangements to make sure that we are inclusive in the way that you put it, like maybe getting on board persons with, for example, disabilities. No, we did not think about that.
Fratella,
Yes,
allow me to come in, please. Thank
yes,
you.
yes.
So thank you very much, Rebecca, and very good question about people living with disability, especially for someone who has been in the UN. I know how important it is, and I'm not taking it lightly. We believe in inclusion. It's extremely important. And I have to say, and I have to apologize also, is that this Fireside Chat, it's really the first time of really trying to gather data in order to package it and then use it for the next step. So please, we just started, Hesed World I just began in August last year. So this is the first series we're doing. So we're learning, but be absolutely sure that what we're doing with Hesed World is going to be inclusive. That's for sure. So apologies again. Over to you, Fratella. Thank you.
Thank you for that response. Tuonge, we had you on wait. Do you have anything from Nalikule before we move to the next item on our agenda?
Yes, a comment.
Yes, go on, please.
Okay. What I want to, my name is Oble Jakalamba.
Tiwonge, we can hear you properly.
Enough.
We couldn't get
Fratella.
your question. Is it only? Yes.
Fratella.
Yes, yes. Is it only me that's unable to get them?
No, I think it was breaking.
Yeah, I
Okay.
noticed as well. So
Can you hear us now? Can you hear
yes,
us?
we can hear you now. Or can you type the question?
Okay. My name is.
Yeah, go on.
Just,
I'll try talking.
okay, my name is Oble Jakalamba. What I want to ask is that what measures do you put in place so that you can reach out to those who are hailing from remote areas? Because this chat is like it is on the internet, so that they are not reachable to everyone. So what measures do you put in place so that you can reach those who are coming from very, very remote areas?
Thank you, Amon Chakalamba, for your question. I think this one isn't pertaining to the keynote address, but it's generally about the fireside chat itself, as in have we tried to reach out to those that are in the remote areas? Kiki, can I leave this one to you?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So you're absolutely right. The reason why we actually sent Tionge to that part of the area is because we really believe that it's important to be able to reach those people, right? So the information we're going to gather from this fireside chat is going to help us to really determine, when we're putting a project together, how to go about really targeting the rural areas, because we know that the fact that you mentioned about the internet connection accessibility, it's a problem. We will do, what we're planning to do is actually go to some of the youth clubs and really use that aspect to really deliver our messages. So at the moment, like I said to you, we're gathering information, and from that information, we're going to build something that is comprehensive, that is involve the government, civil society, private sector, and most importantly, your voice, the youth. So bear with us, but thank you very much. Over to you, Fratella.
Thank you so much. Allow me to move to the next part of the fireside chat, and this is where we're having the panel discussion on a mindset change, the key to youth empowerment, peace, and sustainable development. Earlier on, I had introduced the panelists. We have 5 of them. Let me say the previous speaker mentioned something else that touched on mindset change, to say this is not something else, that it's a process, it's something else that we need to do, and it has come at the right time. Allow me to start with Ms. Wangiwe Joanna Kambuzi, who is the Managing Director of Image Livelihoods. Ms. Kambuzi, you work closely with communities to build self-reliance. In your experience, what are the most practical ways that young people in Malawi can start contributing to sustainable development, even with limited resources?
All right, thank you, Tella, and hi everyone once again. My name is Wangiwe Joanna Kambuzi, and I'm the Managing Director at Emerge Livelihoods, as introduced, and our work centers on championing a thriving ecosystem that amplifies the self-reliance of individuals as well as communities across the country and beyond. So through our work, we focus on contributing towards 6 main sectors, which include transformative education, inclusive digital transformation, gender equality, as well as social inclusion, environment and natural resources management, as well as sustainable entrepreneurship and livelihoods development. And we are very key and one of the biggest stakeholders in the youth development space, having at least a wider range of these services being able to benefit young people across the country. Overall, we have been contributing so much towards ensuring that young people leverage on amplifying their lives through sustainable entrepreneurship, as well as the livelihood development space, knowing equally well that the big challenge that already we're talking about here is the fact that young people lack employment opportunities. They also lack on the same access to funding when they want to actually have investments in the business space. One of the key things that I can attest that actually works is always affiliating yourself as a young person with incubator support organizations or acceleration programs, as well as also utilizing internship opportunities with local or even international organizations. Why these platforms? We'll also again see that Malawi has an ecosystem where we do not have as many incubation hubs or innovation hubs or acceleration programs as compared to other countries in the region, but there is these programs across the country, looking at organizations such as Emerge Livelihoods, MHub, Zuga Africa in the southern region, Next Gen Labs, just as a few examples that are actually working in the space to bring different opportunities for young people to access programs that provide them entrepreneurship support from skills and funding related investment. What is again key is the issue that was highlighted around rural inclusion. And one model that we actually adopted was the development of community impact hubs across communities, including the rural areas. And we started with one in Rumpi district, and we have actually grown to 4 at the moment, where we're also working in Karabe as well as Lilongwe through key community development partners that already exist in those spaces. And we collaborate and ensure that we're providing infrastructure as well as community programs where young people can actually be able to use the community impact hub to access these opportunities. What we've seen is a growth adoption of technology, but at the same time, also young people being able to access employment and also opportunities that have actually advanced their access to different opportunities. So a collaborative approach, which we use, an ecosystem-led approach, has actually been one of the key models that I can attest that has helped a lot in seeing young people being able to access opportunities and also growing their self-reliance. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your insights on what works where limited resources are where there are limited resources. For example, in Malawi, mufotokoza kwanu mwanena kuti pamene achinyamata akuonesa mwina maluso kapena apatsidwe danga lokakhala pansi pa ena amene akupanga kale cholinga choti aphunzirepo. Ndi mwakambaponso nkhani ya kupangira zinthu limodzi kuti pamene mutikugwira ntchito limodzi zinthu zimene zimatha kuthandizira kuti achinyamata ayambepo kuchita kumene kuli kothandiza kandi masomphenya a dziko pa chitukuko. Mwina quickly, can you know, like you have explained, Image Livelihoods focuses on the micro, small and medium enterprises and climate financing. What advice should you give to aspiring social entrepreneurs who want to build solutions for both economic empowerment and climate resilience? Quickly, in a very short answer, can you come in on that?
All right, thank you. So what's again important is understanding that as a young person, as a startup entrepreneur who's just venturing into the sector, it's important to ensure that you're learning and becoming investment ready. In simple terms, being investment ready is where you understand what investors or financing institutions look for, and you prepare that documentation beforehand before you start asking for support towards investment. And what we see in most cases with young people that we work with in Malawi is either they don't have access to relevant information as to what they need to prepare for before they seek this investment, or at the same time, it's just because they are not yet investment ready, which is why we have a lot of rejection in a space where, again, Stikendi highlighted, the resources might be there, but people are not ready to access those resources. What's very crucial is to understand who are the key stakeholders on the market, what do they look for, and at the same time, how do I prepare as a young person to ensure that I have access to these opportunities? One of the interventions we have is called the Emerge Fund. It's a recent fund that was deployed towards supporting MSMEs, especially those that are climate focused. And we did this as Emerge Livelihoods because we understood that as much as young entrepreneurs get into the space, they start businesses, the challenge with access to finance is there, but what we want is then to provide advisory support before they actually access this investment, and also be the first investor so that they can learn what it takes to get access to funding. So such opportunities are key, but it's crucial to learn.
Thank you. So continuous learning is crucial as well as being investment ready. Amene tikumvetsera achinyamata Joanna Kambuzi later on tiwafunsa mafunso, but in the meantime, allow me to move on to panelist number 2, who is Margareta Wallström, and she's the former special representative of the UN Secretary General for Disaster Risk Reduction, former president, Swedish Red Cross, as well as the president, Swedish Committee for Afghanistan. Margareta, given your experience in governance and humanitarian leadership, what mindset change do you believe are necessary for African development leaders to drive lasting impact today?
Thank you very much, Fratella, and thank you for all the previous speakers. When I listened to Ms. Chikonde's opening speech and the questions that we've had already from the participants, very important observations. Ms. Chikonde said that our entire country needs a mindset. So I think, I think that's a message that is important, because while we are in a youth space, as you say now, but I hope youth doesn't feel now that they are particularly not prone for change, but that maybe this is something they need to share also with all other generations in Malawi. So from my experience is, I would say a couple of things just to set the resilience, which is a word which inspires hope, is built from bottom up. A government, for the best of intention, cannot decide that we are now going to build resilience through laws and regulations and policies. Actually, resilience begins with what people do at the community to protect their own environment, to take the initiatives. I think Ms. Chikonde mentioned when floods have destroyed schools, no one is doing anything. So if that is really the fact, I think one of you mentioned, if we start with the individuals, with the youth, how to build their self-confidence, what will strengthen young people's confidence in their own capacity? What are the real constraints, both at community and country level? Where are the barriers? If we can put words on those barriers, maybe in practice we can make real progress here. There's one word that I strongly believe in, not the word, but the action, and that is peer learning. I'm sure that among the young people in Malawi, there are many good examples, and their good examples can inspire other young people to see what is the practice that you can do. So I think, Joanna mentioned, innovation hubs, etc. All these are opportunities for peer learning from others. There was when we've talked about peace, as I would interpret it for Malawi, is social stability to allow development to, or the development investments that are made to actually give a return on investment. Disasters destroy development investments. Every time there is a flood or a rain or a storm or an earthquake, worst case scenario, it's your development investments that are destroyed. So community action to reduce the possibility of big losses from disasters. There is masses of practical action that communities can mobilize to protect their own assets. And of course, young people are key in these ideas. This also involves learning. So, in my experience, what I've seen around the world is that young people that organize themselves together with the communities, be it in rural or in urban areas, they become part of a very important community because they can also lead. They can become leaders in their communities through demonstrating, for example, how to protect, the communities against flooding, etc. So I think there are many ways that young people can take the space in the community that Ms. Chikonde mentioned. Your national youth policy has the intention of making sure that young people can participate in decision making. Why isn't this happening? I would like to send that question back to the young people that are here. Can you explain to us a bit about what are the barriers that you see for your full participation? We can, the speakers here, we all have lots of experience. We can say what we think, but what is really important is what you think. What are the barriers that you see, and that we can discuss a bit with you also later on, how to do, maybe ideas. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Margareta. I really love the idea of resilience. In Malawi, we have Dodma, which is the department of that deals with the disasters. And one of the things here they believe in is building better. Now, building better entails that it's not just you waiting for somebody, but you're taking part in that thing. And what I've also loved in your contribution is that even in resilience, young people can lead by demonstrating some of the solutions, whether it's protecting the environment or whether we're talking about adopting crops that are resilient to climate change. Then young people can come in and be leaders even in this. As well as your question, this question will carry it over when we open the floor for questions. The first thing we want is that the youth should answer what is stopping them in fully participating in the such initiatives, like, for example, you have put it, resilience, or in decision making. What's stopping the youth in being part of the decisions that are driving national development? Thank you so much. You also answered the second question, so I will not ask you my second question.
That's good.
Allow me, everyone else, allow me to move to Dr. Flata Lusungu Moyo, who is the founder of Team
Sorry,
Lera.
can I? Sorry.
Yes.
Allow me, please. I've just been told that the president of the United Democratic Front, Honorable Atupele, Honorable Muzulunzi, has just joined us. So, Mulunzi has just joined us, and as a youth leader, thank you very much indeed. We didn't know who we're going to be expecting to join this meeting, so please welcome. We want to acknowledge you. Thank you very much, and we hope that this meeting will bring you clarity in terms of how to also work more with the youth. Thank you very much. Over to you, Fratella.
Thank you, Kiki, for that one. Welcome, Honorable Atupele Muluzi. It's exciting to have you as part of this conversation.
Thank you very much.
Welcome. As I was saying, we move now to Dr. Flata Moyo, who is the founder of Team Lera Stream. And Dr. Moyo is a gender and ethics specialist. Are you there, Doctor?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so as someone who works at the intersection of gender, justice, culture, and healing, how do we better equip religious and cultural leaders in Malawi to become champions of trauma-informed peace building and women's as well as youth empowerment? Doctor.
Thank you so much for that compounded question. And
apologies.
I will answer by giving 3 points. The lessons that I learned working with religious and cultural leaders from especially between 2017 to 2019, I worked mainly in Nigeria, South Sudan, and Sierra Leone. And from that, I learned several lessons, but the 3 of them that I want to share today, the first one that I learned was that there is no person that is a blank slate, there is no one who is voiceless. What we need always is to create platforms and spaces that insist on listening to every voice that is around. So I'm very thankful to Hesed World for creating this space. And because otherwise, these are voices and the wisdom from this, we would not capture it if this space was not created. The second lesson that I learned was that each community, whether we like it or not, has cultural and religious resources that can actually be harvested from. And these cultural and religious resources actually help to bring even this intersection that we are talking about of bringing, helping religious and cultural leaders to become trauma-informed in their perspective, but also to have a gender justice perspective. And one of the resources I learned that is very common to all Africa is this called communitarian ethos. I am because you are. Since we are, therefore I am. And this one is very powerful because it means that even when we are talking about initiatives that address gender injustice and that address trauma, we have to think of the collective. How can we evoke the collective so that we heal together, we journey together? So this Hesed World, this mentorship program and accompaniment is very powerful tool because it helps address both angles that that I'm asked to talk about. The third one that I learned was that peace building initiatives that actually draw on the wisdom and strategies of women are more impactful than those that ignore women. Because women look at it this way. If a woman is a mother, she knows the art of bringing peace in the rivalry of the siblings. As she raises the children, most of the times there's fighting, and these women know how to deal with this so that there can be peace in the home. And so if at the decision-making tables for peace building, women are ignored, we are losing actually 51% of the wisdom that would help. So in conclusion to this question, I would say that it's important that actually our keynote speaker talked about United Nations Security Council Resolution 2250 that Malawi signed and is implementing. And I want to encourage also that there is also Resolution 1325 that Malawi has a plan for action. So we should actually make sure that these tools are also known to our religious and cultural leaders as they negotiate for peace. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Flatter. Thank you. Powerful lessons that you have outlined for us. I believe that the audience was listening and expect further questions at the end of our discussion. But let me point out that you mentioned something very important, that of women participation in decision making, especially where peace is concerned. And you say if we neglect or we leave out women in peace building efforts, then we're losing some of the solutions that we could have used so that moving forward with their inclusion would have been a better society. Thank you. As a global peace advocate with experience in over 50 countries, what role do you believe young people in Malawi can play in driving gender-sensitive and ethical development, as it's going to be compounded again, and how can they be supported in doing so? I think quickly, can you take us through this one? And
Yes, no, I mean, I was calculating actually that if 70% of Malawi is youth, then we are talking of 14 million people out of the 20 million, okay? So if you young people know your potential, that you are actually not just more in population, but you have more energy, you have insight. We are in a world where technology is taking shape and shaping so many decisions. And you are techno-savvy more than us who grew up with the old typewriters, you know? So, so if you know your potential as young people, I look at two things that I want to share. The first one is You know, Hillary Clinton, of course, hijacked the African saying that educate a woman and you educate a village. This is an African saying that has been there over and over again. And so for many years, we have allowed patriarchy to privilege male ways of being and knowing and doing things, which means that most of the times the women initiative and creativity is resisted. So young people, you are better than us. You should know that to contribute to development, it doesn't mean that it's only men who can do it. Women and men can do it together, and we've always done things together. There is a saying in Malawi, if you don't remember it, it says most of the times when men are meeting and they are making decisions, most of the times if they are dealing with a very difficult thing, they will say, oh, let's sleep on it. What they mean is they are going back and consult with their wives to find out what the solution is. They will say, let's sleep over it. No, we shouldn't quicken the decision. So what it means is if we can actually look into making sure that there is no discrimination when it comes to influencing decisions, making progress, we know that actually if we do that and we end actually gender-based violence, because gender-based violence creates a level of trauma that women find themselves very difficult to contribute to normal development agenda. If we can deal with these issues, we will be saving the world of $1.5 billion a year that goes to the cost of sexual and gender-based violence. Two, and which is my last point, the gender stereotypical roles, we should not sustain them. I raised 3 boys as my children, okay? And always I would tell them, I don't cook food using my breasts, okay? I use my hands, and if they have hands, they can cook. So let's kill these gender stereotypical roles that put burdens on one gender and everyone else. Boys come back from school, they can read their books while the girls have to clean plates and they have to cook. No, you are young people. Let's change things, mindset change, full stop.
Thank you so much. Gender equality. What you are saying is leave no one gender behind. Let's move together. Let's change how gender stereotypes have been pretty much how we have normalized them so that we're able to do things in a different way. And you did mention something about knowing our potential as the youth. Most important, though, you mentioned something to do with the youth's relevance that should not just be in numbers, but as well in the agency and capacity for meaningful participation in all matters that advance development agenda for a society or a nation. Thank you. There'll be questions for you. I know you have touched on very important things. I believe the audience is going to have questions for you. Mr. Taweni Kalua, are you there? Taweni?
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you, Taweni. Now, as I come to you, Taweni, you have worked extensively in peace building. This is the topic today. We're also looking at peace. You have worked extensively in peace building. What role can the youth play in sustaining peace and preventing conflict in Malawi's development process? If you could come in on that one.
Okay, thank you so much. Basically, I'll start with acknowledging 2 or 3 previous speakers who have alluded to the fact that Malawi's population, more than 50% is consisting of the youth. So basically,
Yes.
this is a demographic which presents an opportunity to control any acts of violent conflict that we face in our country. Basically, I will just give you an example. Yes, we are a peaceful country, but with some latent conflict, which is sometimes manifest when there are some disagreements. But if you have observed, you want to find the adults or big people fighting in the streets or what? It's the youth. So basically, if the youth decide that if there are disagreements, they are a key component of the society which can minimize violent conflict. So apart from that, youth can also enhance early warning mechanisms. If they see a trend which they feel that, okay, this will lead into violent conflict, that early warning response mechanism can be done by the youth. Also, initiating dialogue, mediation, and reconciliation processes. The youth can play a big role on this one. But the youth can also actively participate in decision making. And the moment they are on the table, they can bring the dimension to issues, to conflicts, and then contribute to peace building. Basically, the youth are an energetic component of the nation, and once they own peace building and conflict prevention activities, they can play a big role in peace building.
Taweni, thank you for your contribution. I read today somewhere that old people decide to go to war, and these wars are fought by the youth. It's something sad, but like you have put it, the youth have got agency, and they, through early warning mechanisms, also initiating dialogue, as well as just being aware of their agency, to say that we have numbers, and these numbers should count where conflict is concerned, so that they're able to go into mediation that can help to, bring down or de-escalate the conflict that is there. But do you think that in Malawi, the youth have the skills to ably mediate, initiate dialogue, or just be listened to?
Yes, the youth have skills, but maybe it's a matter of all stakeholders coming together and create that space, opportunity to say, let's give the space to the youth. And I'm happy to share that policy in Malawi now allows that. When you look at the peace policy, it's youth-centric, gender-sensitive, and also youth-centric. And the Peace and Unity Act specifically talks about space for the youth at the Malawi Peace and Unity Commission level, even at the district and the Peace and Unity Committee at the district. The committees, they need to have a youth representative. So that's the youth there on the table there to have their voices heard. Also, when you look at Malawi, basically we have role models in terms of the youth who are running CSOs in decision-making positions. So we can actually see that the youth still have got a say in terms of peace building, and there is space for the youth to be heard. But also, when you look at political party wins, they have a youth director, even with the youth participating in that. At the community levels, you still have youth networks influencing on how community issues have to be handled. So basically, there is a space, but all we need is to appreciate their role, and then encourage them to do more. We need to do capacity building, create space and collaborative decision making so that we really appreciate youth-led initiatives.
Thank you so much, Taweni. Stand by, there will be questions for you as well. And lastly, Amon Yelenda, are you there?
Yes,
Amon?
I'm there. Yeah.
Thank you now for that you're here. Amon, you are a student at the University of Malawi and you're also a youth advocate, a youth peace advocate. As a young man, as a young person passionate about peace and the justice, how do you think mindset changes the way that youth in Malawi engage with issues of peace, law, and national development?
Oh, thank you very much. Okay, the issue of peace is something that isn't for government and elder people. As youth, we also have a law that we have to take as far as issues of peace, law, and national development is concerned. So I think the issue of mindset change has a greater impact towards the changing of mindset of the youth in terms of peace. And what are some of the things that the government or some other people has to initiate in order to make sure that the youth are really being on the track of mindset change? I think one of the most key components is education and awareness. As you know that Malawi has evolved through different stages of policing, and we embarked first on the issue of regime policing, in which policing was trying to fulfill the wishes of those ruling government. So in such a way, it's like that most of the youth, they thought like issues of policing is just concerning about the government. But having some education and awareness session will enable youth to know that they have a key role to play in order to make sure that peace is manifested and that youth are taking a key role in ensuring that Malawi is peaceful. Because if you can bear with me, a lot of violence conduct that has taken place in Malawi youths are used as vessels to play different violence conduct. So if youth are taught and are educated about to take part in issues of peace, I think we can sustain peace in Malawi. And another thing that also Taweni Kalua touched on was the issue of mentorship and the role model. Because even psychologists say that we always live the way we are because of some people, because behavior are learned through observing and learning. So if youth are having a productive and good role model, I think that can also play a huge part in making sure that youth are taking part in issues of peace and law. And the last is an issue about the inclusive and the participatory approach, because sometimes youth are thinking that they are put aside when they are dealing with the issues of peace. As such a way, I think it is of great significance if the youth are being given a law so that they can play in a decision-making towards things regarding peace. And in such a way, it will make youth to be feeling part of a decision-making panel in which it will be easy for them to advocate peace to their fellow youth. And in so doing, Malawi can be peaceful. I think
Ndathokoza kwambiri Wilfred Nyelenda mwakambapo zinthu zingapo kuti mtendere siwaboma yekha, wina aliyense ali ndi responsibility kuti aonetsetse kuti mtendere ulipo kumalo, komanso mwakambapo za education and awareness kuti achinyamata azindikire kuti they are actors and they should not just be used for to initiate or to be involved in conflict. Amon, before you go, I had one last question for you. I hope you can take this one quickly. What are some of the challenges that young Malawians face in trusting or participating in justice and law enforcement systems. And how can we change these challenges?
Okay, thank you very much, moderator. I think on that issues of challenges that are affecting youth participation in issues of peace and law enforcement and development, I think one of the key components of that, as I've already said, that Malawi has evolved through different stages of policing. And I covered the issue about the regime policing, in which
Yes.
policing was mainly covering the interests and the affairs of the ruling class. So because of that, it has created lack of trust in those agencies that are fostering peace in Malawi. As such, that has become a challenge. And secondly, there's also limited access. And you can bear with me that as far as issues of peace are concerned here in Malawi, most of youth, they don't take an actual part in policy formulation of issues concerning peace. As such, youth, they feel like they are being sidelined from issues of those peace, and that also becomes a challenge. And we also have another negative experience. If you can see that most of the things that are concerned about youth, they do also create some negative, which means trauma experience with law enforcement. You find that the way Malawian police, they do handle issues concerning youth is very, very problematic. And in such a way that most of the youth, they don't trust in issues of security. That's why you will see that there are a lot of variances between security institutions and the youth, because of there is that negative experience that the police are there to manipulate the interest of the youth. So because of this clash, there's some negative experience. And on the issue of solution, I think security reform can play a major part and a major role as far as the issues of peace, security, and the national development is concerned. What am I trying to say? The government has to make some policies and change the way Malawian peace and the Malawian policing is concerned. So reform ensures that security institutions are accountable, they are transparent and fair in the justice system. In such a way, this will motivate youth to be involving in issues concerning peace and security, and also access to justice. As you can see that most of the people and most of the youths in Malawi, they have lost the trust in the criminal justice systems in Malawi because they think that those criminal justice systems are there for the benefit and to satisfy the wishes of the upper class. So in such a way is that access to justice, it will make youth to feel that Malawi has taken a very strong role in order to motivate them to take issues of peace and the national development. Because you can bear with me that without peace, there will not be an issue of national development, because even investors and some other people to invest in Malawi, they will need an involvement which is peaceful. So meaning to say that peace is indeed essential in national development. And the community engagement, the government has also to play a role of collaborating with the local people, traditional chiefs, and some other people in issues of peace. And in so doing, it's like we are now advocating issues of peace throughout Malawi. And this can be the best solution, because it is the duty of every youth in Malawi to make sure that Malawi is peaceful and our country is developed. And lastly, I'll talk about youth-friendly service. When I'm talking about youth-friendly service, the government has to initiate certain projects that will enable youth to come together and discuss issues concerning peace. And I think for that involvement, that youth are there to discuss issues of security and national development, it will also enable them to actively participate in issues of peace and national development.
Thank you so much. Safe spaces for participation for the youth in law enforcement and the peace building, as well as the security reforms, these being the solutions as you have put it. But I liked what you said about negative experience. Ungokumana ndi mwina wa police kapena wa law enforcement modzi, basically it has shaped how you look at law enforcement forever. Everyone else, We were supposed to
Mada
run.
raised her hand very
Mada, you
quickly.
raised your hand?
Yeah, please.
Yes,
Yeah,
Mada.
hello everybody. My name is Madari Tsokaunda, and I'm the focal point person for Malawi, working with Hesed World. I just wanted to take note of some of the comments that have been shared on the chat. As everybody's making their contributions, others are also contributing through the chat. So we should just take note of that, but I'll just read them as they are. So we have one contribution from Thomas Muntari, who says that some of the key factors to youth empowerment include, number one, youth support through mentorship programs, which covers all districts. Typically, mentors are people with experience in entrepreneurship. So this is good because it's one of the objectives that Hesed World wishes to implement in the coming projects. So secondly, they say that access to finance, this is a key enabler for youth entrepreneurship. Currently in Malawi, this is one of the key challenges. Banks are collateral-based lenders, and it's sad to note that even development banks operate almost like banks. What is needed is to lobby government so that development bank models are revised to truly cater for youth development. A good example is the industrial development of South Africa, which truly caters for national development, which covers all entrepreneurs, be it youth or women, EDC. So I think that's something to do with what Wangiwe said earlier in their project through Emerge Livelihoods. So maybe that's something to also think about. One other contribution we have from Hagai Nyando is that youth are facing different challenges to fulfill their dreams. Normally, youth fail to proceed with education due to lack of financial support. As a result, they even fail to make decisions properly, leading to poor families and communities. So I think the last one is from Charles Mpande. He says that the communitarian ethos is important. We should also be aware that communitarism may demand conformity that may stay for one person's creativity or thinking outside the box. So I think that those are just some of the contributions that have been made that are also worth taking note as we proceed with our chat. Thank you very much, Fatela. You can take it from.
Thank you so much.
Mada, I just want us to recognize that time has passed, but can people still please stay on? This is too important. Yeah, this is too important for us just to leave. We need to get people, the youth, the opportunity to speak. So please bear with us a few more. This is very important. And then, Fratella, I leave you to call in Harry. Over to you.
Yes, that's exactly what I wanted to do. Halilif, are you there?
I am. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, you'll be the last one to contribute in the panel discussion. Now, you have had many years as working as an international civil servant as well as a humanitarian professional. What approaches have you seen work well in contexts like rural Malawi, where formal technical training is limited? It's going to be a compounded question, so bear with me. How can vocational training, including apprenticeships or online options, help equip young people with practical, sustainable skills for peace as well as sustainable development? Hale.
Okay, well, thanks. I worked for the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees for 25 years, well, nearly 30 years in all, and I spent most of my field operations in Africa. I was last in Malawi 30 years ago, mind you, but I remember the country well. First of all, I just did a quick check online and found that the majority of people in Malawi don't have access to electricity. This is a favorite subject of a friend of ours, Yvette Stevens. 14% only have access to grid electricity. And if you're going to have a training program for the youth in Malawi, you're going to have to start to establish the electricity to the rural areas. This is hugely important, and it's what UNHCR was doing in Uganda and in South Sudan and in other countries for its refugee communities, as well as for the local population. Now, the way to do that is, of course, we can't expect to use the main electricity companies. It has to be through solar power. And the beauty of solar power is it's not only relatively cheap now, it's easily to be installed, but it gives opportunities for the young men and women to be able to learn how to establish solar power plants or solar power equipment in situ, as well as to maintain it, bearing in mind that solar power panels have to be cleaned on a regular basis and checked for damage and so on. Now, if you can get the solar power in and get the electricity, and you can then open up the community halls and buildings for training, both for the young people and also, and that's an area which also interested me when I was in Uganda, training the elderly people in small business practices, because you'll be able to have light at night. So you can have the training programs for the youth during the day and also school children, but you can also have training programs for the adults as well, and the youth actually helping to teach them in the various aspects of the new technologies, as well as how to read and write and use small accounting practice. It was interesting, we had Google turn up in Uganda, in Gulu, in northern Uganda, in 2007 or 8, and I remember meeting Larry, one of the founders of Google, and they said, oh, no problem, we can put in computers into the schools in this area, no problem at all. And I said, well, you know, it might be helpful if we first put in the electricity. So you have to start from the basics, get the electricity in, then, and also another thing, if you put electricity in, you can also encourage teachers and tutors to go and work in these areas, because they also would like to have access to the internet and access to electricity. We did set up internet programs once we had electricity. Interesting enough, it was actually in Bosnia at the 60th anniversary of UNHCR that I managed, through my team in Mostar in southern Bosnia, to actually connect Geneva through the internet for the celebrations. I know how powerful the internet through Zoom and through WhatsApp and others can really change the educational factors and the opportunities for people. And once you've established that, you can move on to small training programs in agriculture, mechanical support, which I was trying to do in northern Uganda, and also establish, you know, as I said, the earlier things in accountancy and small business practices, where UNHCR set up a large number of livelihood programs, which help local people learn how to improve the agricultural yields, use different seeds and so on and so forth. So, but electricity is key, and solar power is the way forward. And it would also be able to allow both, and I love the gender aspects of this, women, young girls, they can all learn to do it as well. You don't have to be strong, you just have to have a bit of a brain to be able to do it. And so that's my thoughts on the matter.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Harley. We should explore other energy sources, especially solar, considering that it is cheap. You have reminded me of a UNDP funded project in Mchinji.
Yeah, I mean, there were programs there. Well, I don't know what's happening now with all the
Malawi,
the cuts.
Call it Sitolo village. It's an off-grid power.
Okay,
I was saying, you reminded, when you mentioned electricity as being key, you reminded me of a place in the Mchinji district in Malawi. There is Sitolo village. It's an off-grid power. There's an off-grid power plant there that has changed the village and how people are able to do things that they weren't able to do before, including business. With that, thank you so much, Harley. Kiki, with that, we wind up the panel discussion, and I earlier mentioned that with all these panelists bringing varied insights and experiences to the discussion, we should open this one now up for reactions and reactions from the audience. I saw a hand already. I saw a hand. No. Okay, it's okay. I think at this at this point, let's have reactions from the audience. Thank you. No one
Perhaps
yet.
we go to Tionge first, and then because she's
Tionge, can okay?
Charles.
I think there's a
yes. I said Charles Mepedi, and then Tionge afterwards.
Okay. Charles, you have the floor. Thank you. Charles Mpande.
Thank you very much. I just want to say thank you to Hesed for this good forum. My comment is that, as you can see, the youth are not quite freed up to speak, which is a bit of a concern to me. I think they should be more active. This is their forum, and they should not be intimidated. But I guess when they are before the adults, they feel like akula kula lankula, and they themselves do not want to express themselves. Now, that's not a very good show of mindset. That is still feeling like they are inadequate. My second comment is that these are wonderful ideas which are coming through. I guess one of the things about changing mindset is that it is not a 1 week project. It's it's a project that will take long. But I guess one of the spaces which are lost is the school system, the education system. These great initiatives of TVET and booklets about youth and how they can change are wonderful. But I guess the school system needs an overhaul. I like the aspirations that are in the visions and the plans for youth and peace and development. They're wonderful. But if you go to the school itself and see how the school is set up, how it is run, the materials that are available, the mindset of the teacher, the operations run very contrary to your visions. Which means, in my view, we have a long way to go, because we'll push through that school system, the student comes out with the same mindset. So I beg to say, think about how the school system may also be thought of as a space that needs to be overhauled, so that we do not struggle with a potato that is already bent. You stretch it, you break it. Mbatata yokhota kale sawongola. So the school system needs to be overhauled. That's one thing I can say. And as I say, it requires finances, it requires people to be retrained, it will require materials to be changed. So it's not a 1 week thing, it's a long-term project. I think I will stop there now. Let me not dominate. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Charles Mpande, and your contribution is spot on. I myself am in the training department in the Malawi Police Service. This is one of the things we once talked about, say the quality of the person we are producing from the training institutions, for example. A lot of this product is going also to be affected by the environment in which they are trained. So I totally agree with you, and thank you for that contribution. I saw a hand. I think first it was Rebecca Halawa. If we could move to Rebecca Halawa, please.
After that, can we go to Tionge, because she's got so many people there, and it will be important to have the youth voice as well. So after that, please.
Remind me, that one. Yes, Rebecca Halawa.
Thank you so much. All right. I think basing on the barriers, you can see the message. I've just sent the message. According to basing on my fellow youth, maybe on behalf of those that have not managed to attend, I would like to say thank you for organizing this Insight webinar on mindset for youth development. I really appreciate the effort you put into creating this valuable platform for discussion and sharing with us based on the experiences as well as the knowledge that you have. Based on your dedication to youth development, it is really truly inspiring, and I'm grateful for the this opportunity for us as the youth to participate. But rather, I would urge to say, continue training us, continue empowering us, so that our minds really can change into pure 100%. But next time, I would urge if you can involve more youth that can actually be able to voice out what is in their mind. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Kiki, I've taken note of that. Can we now go to Tionge? Tionge is in Nalikule. Tionge, are you there? What reactions, what contributions do you have for us from that side?
All right. My name is Peter Metabanda. I just have.
We can hear him.
Is it clear?
Good.
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. I just have to make some and some questions. But for me, I'll just be firing it, so I think it as it comes. Mostly because I think this fire chat has come at a good time, because we are approaching the general elections. As it was earlier said, we are the youth of Malawi, we are almost 70%. So being 70% means we are more of a decision maker. Sadly, the only time that youth in Malawi are needed, or the only time that they are seen as decision makers, is when we are going to vote, because everyone will be coming with their manifestos, trying to entice us, or maybe to at least make us believe that they are the ones who are going to bring change. But sadly, after voting, they never come back. Now, I want to tackle one area which was made by, is it Margareta, talking about why are not the youth involved in the decision-making process. It is easily seen, because the problem is the youth are not in the key decision positions. Check everywhere. How many organizations have the youth who can make decisions? Check, you go whether in government, how many youth are in key positions? You see? So you find people going to maybe for conferences to the lake, talking about the youth. The youth are not involved. And what happens there is just mere assumptions. They just discuss, I think this will work for the youth. It doesn't happen. So some of these things is because the youth are not inside the decision-making process, and they are not even in the key positions. Also, I also have to, we are talking about mindset change. That's a very big tool to foster development. That's very true. But now, for us here, you are talking to the youth who can get this thing, the mindset change. But the problem here is those who are going to influence the decisions, they're not here. You see, you are here, we can talk about how we can get these decisions, how we can empower the youth, how we can maintain peace in the country. But the problem is that those at the top there, they are the ones who need also this mindset change. You cannot just give this side, also that other side needs a mindset change. Also, I think someone talked about the funds for maybe you have trained people, vocational, maybe tutors, bricklayers, or whatsoever. But you say there are some funds that are just sitting idle. But
how visible are you? Because the funds can be there, but how visible are you? How can the youth get those funds? You find that, I think as someone said earlier on, there's a lot of processes. Someone needs the funds maybe to maintain the business, is a young entrepreneur, doesn't have any funds. But when that person comes to you, there is a lot of processes. So I think, all in all, forgive me for my long speech, but I think hopefully you have taken that. Thank you.
You're forgiven, you're forgiven. You've touched on a number of things: access, issues of access, issues of mindset change, not just being a youth thing, but it should be an all-round thing. And the issues of participation, as well as the youth being in key decision-making processes. I take it the person that has taken the stand also has some contributions to make. Tuonge.
This is William Skuse. I understand that my fellow students from behind do have problems to do with the tuition fee. So my question is straight and forward. Does the Hesed project assist students in colleges with academic hiccups, like a provision of tuition fees? If yes, what strategies do you put in place to ensure sustainability? I thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Kiki, this is a question, it's coming now to Hesed World. I think I'll let you handle that one. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Just to understand it properly, is he saying how Hesed World can contribute to the tuition fees? I didn't quite get that, sorry. Could you?
No, what he's asking is, does Hesed World also look into issues of, let's say, maybe bursaries, scholarships, or helping those that are struggling with tuition in colleges? And what strategies are there for sustainability?
Okay, thank you very much for this. Again, I wanted to just say that his point is extremely valid. And at the moment, what we're doing, we just started, right? We're collecting data, and the data is going to. There are people, I'm sure, who are the civil society who are already dealing with fees issues, but our role might be an honest broker to look into this, to see who we can bring to the table, because we don't have all the resources. And to be honest, the resources you have today is really people who have volunteered their time and energy just to make this happen. So, but it's all the everything that he said and it's being discussed today is going to be taken and analyzed and put into more of a project base, so that even if we know that we can't do it alone, again, we need everyone. We need the government, we need the international body, we need the civil society, and most importantly, we need the private sector as well. Because I think the private sector can do a lot. And I think that diversity is important for Malawi. Vocational training, all those things I've heard, and I've heard everything. And most importantly, we need peace, because without peace, nothing can work. So yes, over to you. I think Thomas Louis Mutali has raised his
That's the one I was going to. I was going to him, Mr. Mutali.
Yeah, thank you very much. So this is not Dr. Muntali, the one people know. This is a different Thomas Muntali. But I wanted just to make sure that I clarify that. So
sure.
I'm a Malawian, an entrepreneur based in Switzerland at the moment, but I lived in South Africa for quite some time. So for me, first of all, to commend the organization that you have, this initiative is great, it's very good. I believe that if you look at the statistics which were shared, like the other speaker mentioned that 70% of Malawi population is youth. I can tell you now from my heart, deep down my heart, Malawi is sitting on a time bomb. What do I mean? We have a youth population which is currently being affected by the education system, and there are no jobs. Guess what? These youngsters are very, very angry, and one day or another, they will explode, and it will be something which we cannot contain. So that's why I'm starting by saying that the initiative you've taken is very crucial. And I really wish government personnel, the politicians, Honorable Pelemuluzi is here. It's important that you should start hearing this. I'm saying, let me repeat this, Malawi is sitting on a time bomb. If we don't intervene in the youth development, that's number one. And then when we talk of mindset change it's a broader topic. We need to think in terms of, currently, if you look at Malawi, when we talk of careerism, politics has become a career for so many people because youth who go out there, look for jobs, try business, nothing works. Guess where they go? Eventually, they would want to join politics. But we cannot all be politicians. That's number one. Two, if you look at the structure, economic structure of Malawi, government is the biggest spender in the economy. Any economy which works like that is bound to, there will be a disaster at some point, because when government is the biggest spender, every person looks at government, then there's corruption, then these things becomes quite critical. Then you have a problem. So, but how do you solve that? The only way to solve that is to look at entrepreneurship. And when we look at entrepreneurship, we need to have a broad mindset. We need to define to say, what can work for Malawi? So number one, if you look at entrepreneurship, the biggest challenge we have is what I wrote earlier on the chat. Access to finance. That's the biggest challenge we face within entrepreneurship. I've done some studies within Malawi, and if you look at the current setup, a youngster in Malawi will have a brilliant idea, but the setup of the banking system, even the development financial institution, they're not set up, they're not ready for young entrepreneur. An entrepreneur doesn't want to go to a process where you fill in these forms and they ask you how many chickens you have and what. We cannot have that. We need something which is not reactive, proactive, by actually engaging a lot of youth. And it has to have an expanded program where it's not based on political affiliation, but it covers the entire Malawi. Then once we solve the issue of access to finance, then we look at the mentorship program. Like the other panelists mentioned that currently they have few hubs around Malawi, but the way, if you look at successful companies, if you look at South Korea, for example, the youngsters like Narikuri College, once somebody graduates there, he's got somebody who, number one, will mentor them, and there has to be a program where they give them certain stipend just to sustain themselves. Those are programs which allow youngsters to develop their ideas to a point where they can actually implement. Then there should be mentors who can handhold these youngsters to make sure that they implement that. But if we don't do that, unfortunately, we will be sitting on a serious time bomb as a country. And when this links to peace and security, like you have highlighted, so I'm advocating that we should really truly drive entrepreneurship, and it has to be youth-led. So in other words, we need to go back to the youth and ask them exactly what you're doing. Ask them to say what would work for you. Then the moment you do that, you'll be able to extract the right information and put together a program which works. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas Muntali. Issues of mentorship and access to finance. I remember in 2014 when I was out of college, I had brilliant ideas as well. I went to one institution, and at that time they told me, come back with a concept. I didn't even know how to write a concept, and it's sad these days I know how to write concepts, but I really wish I knew how to write a concept at that time, because all I could do was explain myself. Like, okay, there's this, we could do this, we could do this, and we could do this. But then if maybe someone else was there to work with me and develop that into a document, which I was unable to do at the time, that idea would have worked. So I totally agree with you. Are there any more hands before we, Kiki? Okay, there is a show of hand.
There's an HP. Yes, someone called HP. And before we give the
for the
floor,
benefit.
Okay.
You introduce yourself for the benefit of everyone. HP.
We can't hear you, HB. Sorry.
I think they are
They are
muted.
muted. They are muted. They have to unmute
Muted.
themselves.
Okay. While
Is it
HB
okay
is
now?
trying to
Finally,
mute.
they're here.
Is
Finally,
Okay.
they're here.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
we
yes.
can hear.
Great. I think in this research, I'm Jeremiah Kampazangula Piri, a lecturer from Naligule College of Education. I'm a specialist lecturer for learners with diverse needs. And actually,
thank you.
This research has come in a very good time. Unfortunately, indeed, you have not included learners with diverse needs, because had we known, we would have included those learners to be participating in this specific research. But since you have already apologized, we take it on board. I think next time we are going to do better than this. Actually, when we are to look at the findings of this research, indeed, I concur with Mr. Mutari, the one who has just spoken previously. Youth in Malawi have got brilliant minds, and they can do whatever business they can do if they are empowered. So what I can concentrate much here is on youth empowerment. Since all the youths cannot be absorbed after completing their probably studies at probably secondary school level, university level, they cannot be absorbed probably in different companies or even in government. But what we need to do is to make sure that we have to empower them. Because as you know, the saying goes, an idle mind is a devil's workshop. So when the youths are not doing anything else to assist them, to keep them probably alive, definitely they resort to do uncompromising issues, and they take part in whatever comes along their way, for example, in malpractices and whatever. And that is because they have nothing to do. So if we are to empower them inclusively, that is, definitely these issues will be minimized or probably eradicated completely. So I support this initiative that you are taking, and probably I urge you not to stop here, but you have to maintain, you have to continue, even when the results are out. Please make sure you sustain this sort of intervention. As I've already said, youth in Malawi are hard workers. And also on the same, let me take opportunity of recognizing Honorable Atupele Muluzi is a very good man, a very cool guy, and he has got very good plans as well. I think politically, we need also to have a political will to assist these learners, to assist these specific youths that we have, so that we assist them accordingly and inclusively. As you are making your programs, make sure do not leave any youths behind. Those with diverse needs should also be taken on board, because for this one to materialize, we need not to leave other minorities behind. I submit. Thank you.
Thank you so much, our lecturer from Nalikule. I also saw a hand, Kondwani Daniel Vyalika. Kiki, looking at the time, could we consider this one maybe to be the last contributor? Subject to everyone's approval?
Yeah, I think that that could be the last one, but I also would like you to give the space to all the speakers, because they've heard so many things.
Yes,
And I
I'll
think
do that
it'd be great.
after.
Thank you.
I'll give them. Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Please.
Kondwan Daniel Valika, you had your hand up.
Okay. Yes, thank you so much for recognizing me. I am Daniel Valika, who is, I'm also the Dean of Students at Nalikule College of Education, who looks into the welfare of the students. And I'm the one working closely with Tuonge here in organizing these students so that they should participate in this particular talk with them. However, let me just appreciate one contribution from one of the students, very powerful, where he was talking about students' engagement, youth engagement in various sectors. Particularly in my case, I'll talk about the youth that have gathered here. Narikore College of Education, we are training teachers. And the youth that we are looking at are our future teachers. And then if you look at the structure of our government, or the way how our government recruit teachers, it's a very big challenge. You'll find that once these students you are seeing before you here, after graduating, they'll be just loitering around in town, either in their home villages, waiting for them to be employed by government. Lucky enough, when I had a talk with Tiwonge, he talked about one very important thing, which is equipping young professionals and entrepreneurs with knowledge and strategies to build successful careers and businesses. I know most people have already talked about access to finances. I hope this platform, which is being created now, will give that opportunity to the youth that you are seeing before you, more especially my students here, an opportunity to create jobs. How? Through this forum, I should believe that it will not end here. It has to empower, we have to empower them so that they can open their own schools. For example, these are teachers. They can team up and probably give them support so that they can open a school somewhere else, maybe right in the remote area where there are no secondary schools. These are secondary school, these are secondary school teachers. Instead of them waiting for the government to employ them, probably maybe this organization can literally, deliberately make an effort on how best we can support them. I'm saying this because I want us to be very realistic when doing things, because when we support them with the skills, we support them with finances, we find a place where they can have a secondary school, they open that secondary school, help the community, as they are also helping themselves. I think I submit.
Thank you so much, Dean of Students, Mr. Vralika. Your contribution is noted. Is there another show of hand?
No, Fratella,
No.
we will have to,
Yes,
unfortunately, we have to wrap up here. And also,
yes,
I want to say something. Mr.
Yes.
Can we just give space to Honorable Mulunzi, just a simple address, and then apologies, and then we give 1 minute to the speakers who have been waiting, because it's over. We've gone over 40 minutes past the hour. It's a lot. Maybe we can give them 1 minute to kind of like do a closing from the conversation, wrap up. Okay, over to you, Fred. Sorry, could you introduce our honorable?
Yes,
okay,
yes.
Honorable
Atupele Mluzi, if there are any thoughts, I think we are honored to have you voice them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will try to be as brief as possible, but thank you for giving me the opportunity to say a few words, and also to appreciate all the powerful presentations that were made this afternoon. Very enlightening contributions. I think Dr. Wallstrom posed a very important question, which I would like to also repeat. I think Mr. Mahoney also earlier on. Why are the youth of Malawi not participating in decision-making positions, and what are the barriers? I believe that this is a question.
Can you mute? Okay, yeah, go on, please.
Hagai Nyando, can you mute your...
Hagai, can you mute? Evan, can you mute everybody and just let
done. You can go on.
Okay.
You can go on, Honorable.
Yeah, I believe Dr. Wallstrom's, Ms. Wallström's question demands some deep reflection from all young people in the country. As was stated earlier, 70% of the population is young people. And in just 5 months, will be
We've lost him.
Oh, something must have happened.
We must also consider the role of social media. While it has created spaces for youth, it has also become a breeding ground for misinformation. Populists and populism have capitalized on this, often misleading our young people and diverting them from meaningful participation. We're also living in unprecedented times with the rapid evolution of technology. And I believe these were highlighted earlier. And these technologies present both opportunities and challenges. And most importantly, they require a mindset shift. And I think unlocking the potential for Malawi's youth begins with how we think, how we engage, and how we equip ourselves to lead. Not just for tomorrow, because I believe we've always heard phrases, the youth are the leaders of tomorrow, but starting today. So I think this is an important platform for very powerful engagements. Thank you very much.
Thank you
very much, Honorable. We appreciate.
Muluzi.
Yeah, we appreciate. Thank you.
Now I think I should thank you for all the contributors, for your contributions and your insights. 1 minute each. I should start with the Chikondi Chasukwa. Are you there?
Chikondi, you're muted. Okay, if
I'll move to Margareta Wastrom. Just a minute. Any last thoughts?
No, thank you. I just want to say I share with probably everybody else. Both really impressed about the opportunities that have been laid out, but also a bit worried, I must say, from what I've heard. But what particularly I remember, and I think Amon from the University of Malawi, the way he described in very concretely why youth feels excluded. I think it's very important that it's very hard for younger people to enter into government, so they are not sitting at the tables where policy is developed, where policy is created. They don't feel any ownership for what the guidance is coming from. So just to adapt to the youth of Malawi, a theme that is very often repeated in other contexts. No decision about us without us.
Thank you. No decision without us, no decision for us without us, for the youth. Thank you so much. Dr. Flata Moyo, if you could come in.
Yeah, just to also echo what Margaret has said, I mean, Beijing 1995, when the women met in Beijing, they argued that, you know, this slogan that Margaret has said, nothing about us without us. So I think the youth are saying in Malawi that if we are really serious about hearing their voice, then this space that the Hesed World is creating, we should really nurture it, and we should make sure that it becomes a safe enough space for the young people to speak. And probably with the challenges that we have faced regarding connectivity and all that, the next step will be for all of us to work together with Hesed World to make sure that we have meetings in person in the different communities to gather the youth voice. So for me, I'm very thankful to Hesed World for opening this space. And I'm very thankful to our moderator and all the voices that have spoken. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Fulata. Taweni Kalua, can you come in? Taweni? All right. He might have moved. Let's have Miss Wangiwe Kambuzi.
Right. Thank you, Fratella. It's been very lovely engaging with everyone today and also learning. I think I spent most of the time just listening and learning, and the insights from the panelists were really interesting, and also the questions from the participants have been great. Just to encourage my fellow young people that the ball is still in our hands, and we are very key in contributing towards different solutions to the many challenges that Malawi is facing and also the entire continent. And we should be aiming so much towards sitting at the table, which we've been provided for, and also collaborating with policymakers and other organizations towards getting the support we need in the investments that we're actually working on. Otherwise, keep on thriving and also working with each other, teaming up and ensuring that our communities and our lives are becoming better. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Wangiwe. Pahalelif, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Thanks very much. It's very interesting. It's actually, along with the other presenters, it's a challenge, isn't it, for Malawi? It's going to be difficult to get the thing moving without finance and without. I agree with Kiki with private sector support. I think that's going to be crucial, particularly as the traditional areas of funding is drying up at the moment because of what's happening in the aid industry. But anyway, thanks very much to all the participants. I really enjoyed it. It was a really interesting afternoon. Thanks.
Thank you so much. And can we have Amon Yelenda?
Okay.
Amon, are you there? Yes.
Yes,
Just
I'm
a
there.
minute. Yes.
Okay, I just want to thank each and everyone who was available at today's meeting. And as a last contribution, I think we as youth, we have a key role to play as far as mindset is concerned. And without a conducive environment for youth towards mindset change, I think the issue of mindset change will be valued. But they will be valued. And it's
good. That's good.
And I think it's also the law of a government to sit down and enact policies that will enable youth participation in decision making. And that will have a great significance and impact towards the mindset mindset change as far as youth is concerned. On that remark, I list my case.
Thank you so much. Earlier on, I had asked Mrs. Chikondi Chasukwa if there are any last thoughts. Kiki, coming this far, I believe we are at the end of our fireside chat. I kept hearing the issue of hardworking youth in Malawi, and as I kept hearing it, I started making a very small list. So I made a small list. I know of youth that have got excellent ideas out there and are making strides in various fields, whether it's sports, arts, the environment, tourism. I know the likes of Adventures with Colby, Travel with Mavis, Cas Madise, who plans to walk from Malawi to Egypt to raise awareness on mental health. Elan Amidu, Dr. Chimwemwe John Paul Manyozo, an avid youth mentor, Mai Mbambande, Temwa Chilenga of Zoe Foundation, Yana Ininzuzu, the Malawi netball team, the Towela Ngwila Ninzuzu, Anita our skincare who has gone back to school, the kind of self-belief that we need where you can be resilient enough to embark on a path that is meaningful. Also, let me shout out to the Ministry of Youth who are working hard to translate policy into action, and also all the youth-led organizations as well as institutions and the organizations that are working with the youth in Malawi. Kiki, for the next step, I think I hand over now to you. Thank you. And thank you for having me as a moderator today. Thank you so much.
Kiki, can I just one intervention? There was Professor Charles Mpande who attended and gave contributions. He is a professor at Victoria University in Australia, and he has a program that trains entrepreneurship of the youth. So we should actually pick on him and work with him. Thank you.
Professor Charles Mpande, you've heard that one. I expect to make some follow-up so we can continue to learn from you. Actually, you have a hand. Please, just a minute or so. You go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. I wasn't raising a hand. I was simply clapping.
You're simply thanking. You're
Yes,
thanking Dr.
yes.
Plata. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
thank you. But
Yeah,
otherwise,
welcome and
yeah,
thank
I'm happy to work with Hesed and the rest of the folks in Malawi. I am in Australia, yes, but my leg is in Malawi and my heart too.
Thank you so much for the leg and the heart. Kiki, over to you.
You are muted. You are muted, Kiki.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I just heard from Tionge. She said the participants here had more to say, but I have to tell them to list down the comments. Oh God! So I'm feeling a little bit because they're very special, and I'm wondering whether Tionge can just one more, and then just one or two more, but that's it, and then we really have to shut it down. So sorry, Tionge. Please go for it. If you can put everything together at once. Thank you. Tionge.
Yeah. Muted.
You're muted. Okay.
The network.
Okay, it's good. Go.
They're coming.
Yeah, so I just want to comment on what people have said on governance, peace management, as well as maybe just fostering people, in short, youth, on how they can improve themselves. Here in Malawi, youth are facing different problems, including maybe like having narrow circle to discuss. As we are here, we are almost 30, but our campus is just too huge. I think your research will have something like a feedback, giving us what to do, where and when can we meet to sort out different issues. And on the same note, the youth are even struggling to get better. It's because of ignorance. Once they can be trained in different schools as we are here, they can, I think, improve themselves in different aspects of life. So as you are going, because this is an ongoing process, also think about how you can even intervene them in different aspects. As we are here, try to even involve us somewhere else, just physical, not on the internet, because Malawi is just somehow big. We can have youth, which is almost 70%, but limited are here. So involve even those who are outside through us so that we can outreach and we can do what is needed so that we can change their mindset, we can change ours to improve this world and Malawi at large. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kiki.
Thank you. I don't know, Tionge, is that it? Yeah.
Okay, another one is coming, and maybe this is the last one.
Yes, just
I'm just
and then okay.
I'm just sad we didn't have a female talking. It's just males.
It's true.
Okay. Thank you. My name is Gresham. Kasito. So what I wanted to say, a lot of friends, one of them has been, when it comes to making decisions for the youth, most decisions are made by the older people. And then when they're making decisions, the youth are not there. So what I wanted to add is that when making decisions, it's not all about making policies. It's making sure that the policies we are making are sustainable and friendly to the youth. And then the other thing I've noticed during the meeting was most people were focusing on financial assistance to the youth in a life at large. What I wanted to add on that was it's not only about supporting them financially, but it's also teaching them about financial literacy. I remember Professor Charles Mhande has talked about changing the education system of Malawi. So I think when changing the education system of Malawi, if we include the issue of financial literacy, I think it help the youth a lot, because a lot of us can conduct businesses. They can be successful, but if we don't have an idea of financial literacy, then those businesses are nothing. If you would ask a lot of youth which are in here, how many know how to manage assets and how to manage liabilities, you find that it's a little number of them. A few number of them can manage to answer how to manage them. So I think when, as Professor Charles Mpanda said, when we are making sure that we're changing the education system, we should at least make sure with that we include that, because teaching the youth about financial literacy will not only help them, but also help the whole country at large, because we are building the future. So if the youth are leaders of today, we teach them today about financial literacy, that system will still keep on going to the future generation. And lastly, I wanted to answer a question by Madam Margaret, if I'm not mistaken. She asked, what are the barriers to full participation? And then the very same question was also asked again by Honorable Atupere Muluz. I think one of the biggest is limited to access to education and resources. And then what I wanted to add on the issue of limited, I remember the first presenter, Mrs. Chikonde, if I'm not mistaken, Jasupa, talked about booklets or leaflets that have information concerning mindset change, which are being found at district youth officers. If you'd ask today, how many know that we have this? I'll tell you that we know that we have district youth officers. So I think as you are implementing your programs at Hesed, this should be included in the system, that we should at least make sure that each and every youth in Malawi has access to education and resources. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Mr. Moderator, at some point, please give me a space to speak as well.
Okay, Mrs. Chasukwa, I did, so you can go now, please. You can speak now, I think.
Yeah, thank you for the contributions, the questions, the concerns. So I thought I should just say something, put it out there so that our young people should be in the know that we have the youth office in every district, in the city council and the district council. In every council, there's an office for the youth officer who is there to advance the youth agenda, and their interest is of the youth. The youth is at their heart. Talking of mindset change being something that's not just focusing on the youth, but for everybody else, we should take time as young people to also look at the documents, the strategies that we have as a country. The Malawi 2063 has some, as a document, has enablers. They have it has 7 enablers. The very first one of the enablers is mindset change. And this mindset change is not just for the youth, but for the whole country, for everybody, starting from children to adults. And as a government, there are a lot of projects that are being implemented by the National Planning Commission and other departments. As a Minister of Youth, I just mentioned this mindset change for the youth because my interest is on young people, making sure that the youth agenda is being advanced in every aspect, making sure that youth interests are being mainstreamed. So that's why I just mentioned mindset change for the youth. But this one is in every aspect. The same as the UNHCR 1325 about women, peace and security. There's that document. But because my interest was on the youth, I just mentioned 2250 on youth, peace and security. So we have all these in place. And then the youth officer, as Malawi, as we are implementing the MIP1, Malawi Implementation Strategy number 1 under the Malawi 2063, we are looking at the mindset change. We have the National Youth Service that I mentioned in my speech. This one is rolled out in the whole of Malawi, in every district. This program is there. What we are trying to do is to reach out with all the young people in Malawi with mindset change training to ensure that even if you are not part of the project, but you have to understand, to learn to love your country, to learn to think outside the box, to learn to reach out, how to communicate, how to make sure that you are contributing to development, not only being somebody who is at the receiving end, but also being somebody who is contributing to development. And we encourage, before I go to encouraging, in the National Youth Service, it has a number of aspects. As a ministry, we recognize that the youth are heterogeneous group. They are not the same. There are those because as I said, they are from the ages of 10 to 35. Those between the ages of 10 to 18, they are in school. They are in school youth. And then even within that 10 to 18, they are also out of school youth. Those who did not go to school at all, the dropouts and everybody. These have different needs and different interests. And we reach out to them with different packages. When there was a talk about curriculum change, the National Youth Service, we are seeking to inculcate this spirit of mindset change, patriotism, loving our country, making sure that we make a difference. And the civic education, we are working as a minister, working with the Minister of Education and other ministry and department agencies, government agencies, to make sure that mindset change as an aspect is incorporated in these curriculums, as well as making sure that not only do we teach our learners, our students, the curricula for the course, for example, in college, the course that they're training in. We want them to have actually employable skills. The way you do with education, you teach them how to teach, and you actually teach them how they will stand in classroom and see. That's what we are trying to do with the National Initiative, to say, if you are there to be in political and administrative studies, what can you do? How can you involve yourself in decision making? How can you encourage others and everything else? How can you be a good leader? Instead of just being this about theories and then writing essays and everything, we want this to be practical. And then for those who are out of school and then we still want them to participate in these decision-making spaces, we have the leadership training through the youth office. We work hand in hand with the UN, our UN partners, in issues to do with leadership training, entrepreneurship, financial management, how to grow a business. Even the financial literacy is there. The only challenge that we have is young people, they always want you to find them in their homes. They don't go out to seek what is out there for them. They want to sit down and they will say, come here, we have this. So what I can encourage you guys, there at Narikula and everybody else who is online, guys, there are a lot of opportunities out there. There are a lot of trainings that are there. Even there was a point that I think NIF was saying there was a point, sorry, not NIF, but Agricom. Agricom was giving out grants to young agri-entrepreneurs, those who are doing agriculture, but they couldn't find any. Because they were looking and they had to find different approaches to make sure that young people are interested in some of these things so that we empower you, not only economically, so that you can also create jobs for other people, for other fellow young people. And at the end of the day, we develop Malawi. So yes, basically all this still hinges on mindset change. Mindset change.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, so thank you, everyone. And I just wanted to say thank you. And the fact that we've gone over this, this, the fireside chat for over an hour, that means it's not boring, for sure. People are very interested. And so and it's positive in a way, because now we've got the data and now we need to kind of define the next steps going forward. I also want to kind of acknowledge that the very presence of youth really talking now actually encouraged me that their voices, they have a voice and they are willing to share. And that somehow we need to create a space for it to happen more and more. And I want to acknowledge that the government of Malawi, through Mrs. Chikondi Chaswika, sorry about your name, it's Chaswika. As Chaswika, she has mentioned something that is very important, and that is that even regardless of what we've said, there is a youth mindset that they have in terms of the national strategies for youth that they have. And the thing is, it's also up to us youth, or we're all youth, but you guys mostly, to really go and read what actually is in that mind, in that, and hold the government accountable, because they are the one who decided that they wanted this, right? So if you also have to take ownership, ownership is not given to you unless you take it. And what we have here is, in terms of Hesed World, is that we are just here as a connector, the honest broker, for everyone to work together, the youth, the government, the private sector, everyone. And you look, we're happy for international civil servants. Some of them have already retired, but they came just to support this because they believe in it. So please, we believe in you. You need to also believe in yourself. There's nothing too small, too great. It's about a little step. Just take a little step and you will see where you can actually come to. Now, from our side, in terms of what we can do, there's two things I wanted to say. One person actually said, Yvette Stevens, it was not noted there, but she mentioned that youth have power to vote. In your vote, you have power. So you can actually use your vote to actually say something if you needed to. And then also, I wanted to acknowledge that we that having even the honorable here presenting here also, it seems to me that Malawi has everything. Honestly, I think you've got it all. You've got very bright children. You've got very bright youth. Everything I'm hearing is so bright. So what we need to do is work together. Package it together. Let's work together. And I think by us working together, we can definitely make a difference. So in terms of the next steps, so this is what we have in store. We are building a community of youth, a community of not just national youth in terms of, okay, let's start with Malawi, but also a global community. We started from Nigeria, we went to Kenya, and now we came to Malawi. And I have to say, Malawi is, wow, there's a lot of energy in Malawi, I'm very happy with that. So we're creating that. And the second thing we're going to create is also, like Fulata said, we are going to make sure that we come and do a special event for each. So I'm working with government and everyone, the private sector, the civil society, we're all going to work together. And then hopefully we will get to where we need to do. So again, thank you to everyone. Sorry it's taking over more than the time that is allocated. I am so sorry. And I really just also wanted to say that I rephrase what the Honorable said about the mindset change needs to work, that we all need to work on it. And someone also said, the mindset change is not just the youth, that also everyone should also think about the mindset change, including the government. So thank you very much. I appreciate your time and thank you again. And I wish you well. Au revoir and merci beaucoup. How do you say that? Fratella, how do you say it in your language, please? How do you say
Nikipewa zikomo kwambiri madzulo pambana.
Okay,
Zikomo
thank you.
kwambiri madzulo pambana.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Kiki, and
Thank
thank you
you.
so much, everyone else. Until next time, thank you.
Okay, bye. Thank you. Take
Bye.
care. Bye-bye.
Thank you so
Bye-bye.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Thank you. Thank you for